Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Super, and welcome back to another episode of the Anarchy podcast. With me here, I have Dr. Zombie. How you doing, man?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
Good to have you on. Now, before we start, I'd like to say a couple words from our sponsor, anarchy.bar. Are you looking for a server that doesn't put up with lag machines? A utopian place where new fags roam free and wild? Well, anarchy.bar definitely has you covered. I mean, finally, right? A server that doesn't put up with lag machines so that you, yes you, can have the best experience you can. The server is run by the one and only Faticus. He is always on the server and with the community. This is one of the only Anarchy servers that really cares about being the best they can be. With commands like /togglepm, /ignore, TPA, and more, it's hard not to love it. So what are you waiting for? Get on 1.12.2 and log on to anarchy.bar. That's anarchy.bar. Links will be in the description. Can't wait to see you on. Now, Dr. Zombie. So, just to, get right into this, how did you come to find and really play Anarchy?
Well, so I've got a long history with Minecraft in general. I started playing Minecraft back when it was a browser app, and there was very little in the way of survival. But I was playing a different digging-related game at the time, a game called Mine Things, which was completely different. It was more like an idle game than Minecraft is. And I was just really looking for something similar, something like Infiniminer. And I found Minecraft, downloaded it, bought it essentially based on the premise alone, had some fun with it. And pretty soon they added, right about the time they added Redstone, I had started looking for tutorials on how to use Redstone effectively to make an alarm system that could let me know when there was a creeper lurking outside my house so I wouldn't blow my shit up. And I found that there was very little information online on YouTube. And I thought, here's a place that I could make a video that might be able to help people. And my tutorial for creating a alarm system using Redstone is still one of my more watched videos, even though I didn't even have a microphone at the time. Once I got that done, I saw there was a bit of a response to it. People were happy that I'd made it. I thought about making a Minecraft YouTube tutorial to help people learn the game, because people were having difficulty understanding and being any good at Minecraft. I mean, it was very early. There were no big YouTubers doing Minecraft videos at the time, so people didn't understand it. So I made some advanced tutorials about everything from, how to go caving and not get lost to how to grow food so that you don't starve. And I called the series Advanced Minecraft because everybody was able to, join the game, build a dirt hut, and die. But I figured if you were going to actually survive and do good stuff in the game, I would call it Advanced Minecraft. So for a time, I ran a private Minecraft server for just a few friends, mostly people that I knew in real life or from this other game, Mine Things. And while it was a fun experience and definitely the most fun I'd had in Minecraft so far, it was tedious and tiring to constantly manage and basically lifeguard a couple of teenagers in a Minecraft server. They would get into stupid squabbles over property rights in a literally infinite world where all you had to do was walk 200 blocks in a direction and there'd be a flat area of land where no one had built anything. But people used to burn each other's buildings down and blow them up with TNT and build a giant highway across the top of somebody's house. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you doing this? And I had to constantly kick people, ban people, warn people, revert stuff that they'd done. And it was just tedious. So go ahead.
That reminds me of something. To B2T, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. But sorry, go on.
Yeah, it was so this began my desire to find a self-regulated server that didn't have to have a moderator constantly watching things. And I found out about a place called Civcraft, which was a not anarchy server per se. It had a lot of modifications to the game that made it so that if you wanted to survive, you had to work together with other people. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to mine up the diamonds you needed and such like that. but it also had something very interesting, a player-run justice system, where if you killed somebody while holding an ender pearl on your hotbar, you would imprison that person in the ender pearl, and they would be stuck in the end until you released them by throwing the ender pearl. And I thought this was like a fascinating concept, but the people in Civcraft did not utilize it the way that I thought it would be most effective. They didn't simply ban griefers or have wars and then use slave labor. They used it to basically imprison people they didn't like and then never use the pearls again. They'd keep them in massive vaults protected by diamond reinforced obsidian that you'd had to break 1,000 times just to get through. So eventually a group of people came along to the server and within a few days got enchanted diamond gear and wiped the entire server out, imprisoned them in a vault, and that was it. They basically had to have the server admin release everybody or the server was going to die. But at that time, I had grown bored of the modifications and I wanted a vanilla anarchy experience. So I was Googling, Minecraft vanilla servers, no rules. And this was early 2013. And that's where I found out about 2B2T. I don't remember if I found it through a website that simply was advertising Minecraft servers, or if I found it via a Kotaku article or something of that about the world's worst server. But I think it probably happened about the same. I found one and then the other right before I joined and started doing videos on 2B.
Oh wow, thanks for that. Do you think you'd be better off on those other servers than on 2B?
I don't. The first video I posted on 2B2T received like 500 hits within 2 weeks, which for me at the time was an unheard of amount. It was amazing. So the response I got was huge, and it wasn't all positive. As 2B2T has come to be known as a server that hates YouTubers, I was no different. And my second video had a lot of people in chat yelling at me, which didn't bother me. I wasn't upset by that. I knew it was an anarchy server. People did whatever they want. It had a very aggressive history. But the fact was that my previous videos had gotten maybe a dozen hits or less than 100. This one took off, and I decided, well, it did well. People are obviously as interested in the server as I am. I'll do a series there. So I did a series on 2B2T. And ever since then, really, I had been doing Minecraft Anarchy videos on 2B up until the queue, which kind of gets into a whole massive story that I could probably go on for an hour on. But yeah, so 2B2T came around basically because I didn't want to play on a server that was moderated. And I feel like that's the real way Minecraft is meant to be played. That's the experience that I've had the most fun with. Ever since then, I just can't play single player. It's not interesting.
But it's sort of similar to how 2B is. Like single player is just you don't get authority from anyone. You just do whatever you want.
Nope, did I lose? Sounds like you cut off at the end.
Oh, sorry. I was saying, like, single player, man, like, it's pretty much 2B just without the toxic environment.
It is. And 2B2T was also known for a long time as single player with lag. The interesting part about 2B that kept me there was the difficulty. Knowing that the monsters you find were not the worst thing out there. That there would be players who were going to hunt you down, find your base, and blow it up. So it was harder. It was expert level Minecraft, and we know and often just say now that if you come to play on 2B2T, it's one of the hardest servers in the world. You have to be ready to deal with the difficulty level of people who are out there just to fuck you up and blow up your base. There's no creature in Minecraft that's going to break into your house, steal all your things, set them on fire, and build a giant swastika. That is a completely different
that's pretty unique
experience. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I've played on other servers. I've played on other anarchy servers. I've played on Hypixel, but 2B2T just has that pure Minecraft experience that I love.
Yeah, it's so pure, it's like hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How was like the beginning of your 2B experience? Like, what was your mentality from then until now? Because like,
Well, when I yeah, go ahead.
sorry, because 2B changes people. Like, say for example, um, anybody who's really been there from a young age. I know some people like Dipper or like Slippery weren't always like the whole tough as nails kind of guy before they joined 2B. So like, how does that mentality change you as a person?
Boy, I'm glad that I found 2B2T after I had grown into an adult, because I seriously worry about what kind of person I'd be if that was during my formative years. Like, I grew up on the internet. I grew up in chat rooms and playing online games with people, and it definitely affected who I am as a person. But I think it made me better at receiving criticism and knowing my faults. But I can only imagine the stuff that would happen to children who come onto 2B2T and actually grow up there in front of that environment. That's terrifying. I'm sure if my parents had, if I had logged into 2B and my parents had seen the stuff in chat, I would have been kicked off the computer at an early age. Yeah, I'd be worried about it, man. Honestly, if somebody came in and was 13 years old and was playing on Minecraft and saw some of the shit that went down there, yeah, that affects you. As for affecting me, it doesn't so much. I think I'm probably better now responding to criticism than I ever have been. And a lot of times if people comment on my videos and say something that's clearly trollish, I'll respond with, yeah, that's a valid point. I can see where you're coming from. And I think it drives them nuts. But it has affected me a little bit in that when I first came to 2B2T, I thought everyone was a villain. I thought that every single person there was out to get me, and I couldn't trust anyone. And some people even say you can't trust anyone on 2B2T. But over the years, I found that as I grew to understand the server and its population more and more people began to trust me, and in turn, I could trust them. And I realized that for a long time, I'd been playing 2B2T incorrectly. The best way to play 2B2T is to find a group of people that you like, that you trust, that you get along with, and build something incredible.
Yeah, that's an outlook that a lot of people take in. I think it's the most healthy, honestly. But nowadays, like what do you do on 2B?
Well, nowadays, if I try to get on 2B, log in and 10 hours and eventually miss my precious free time window and quit. I have not actually logged into 2B2T in I think over a year at this point, because it's simply not possible for me. I refuse to pay the money for the queue. I don't feel like I should be asked to pay an amount that essentially boils down to more than a monthly MMORPG subscription for a Minecraft server that has been duplicated in other servers, not to the same extent, but certainly copied, and does not provide a consistent experience that is positive. I have very little free time to begin with, and with that $20, I could buy a new game every single month and have a new exciting experience. But 2B2T is stale. Every time I log in there now, I do the same thing. Well, I mean, now being over a year ago, I do the same thing. Maybe record a video about it, upload it, get a similar response of, ooh, that's neat, but not as interesting as when I first started. And, that's it. So lately I moved over to Constantium because although the experience is similar, it's a little bit more raw in that there aren't so many players. So the world is a little bit more fresh, and I don't have to wait 10 hours to get in.
Yeah, a lot of people compare, Constantium or 9B to like 2B pre-2016.
Yeah, absolutely. Sort of a 2B2T classic experience, even with the lag. And I've played on 9B, 9T. I've played on 4B. I've played on a handful of other servers that didn't leave a lasting impression. Constantium probably has the closest, most authentic 2B2T pre-rusher experience. And even that server is heavily populated for it now. I think it's got an average of 100 people on at a time now. And the lag can be substantial. People are building lag machines, but you don't have to wait. That's the main difference. If the 2B2T queue went away tomorrow, I'd probably jump back in right away and at least see how my old base was doing, do videos, go back to spawn, mess around, do all the things I used to do and enjoy. But The other problem with 2B2T is the distance. To get back to the base that I'm currently at now, it would be like almost 1,000,000 blocks of walking. Even in the Nether, it would still take fucking forever, and I just don't have the patience or time.
Yeah, that's quite a few limiting factors to why people don't necessarily play too much 2B anymore. It's just the amount of things that are going wrong and the amount of things that are changing. But I'm glad you brought up Constantium. What are your thoughts on other like clones?
Yeah, 2B is often imitated but never duplicated. There's always going to be something missing there, and I do believe that it's a combination of the server's history as well as its player base. Constantium has like I said, a similar old school feel to 2B2T in that the server is pretty vacant. There aren't a lot of people there, but there's just enough to lag the server or to engage in some interesting chat discussion. But beyond that, people message me maybe once a month saying, "Hey, I've got a brand new Anarchy server. It's been up for 6 months. Would you like to come do a video on it?" And the answer is always, no, I don't. I don't have the time to go to every single Minecraft Anarchy server that wants to be like 2B2T. Most of them aren't going to last a year, and the ones that do simply don't have the history anyway. You could run an Anarchy server for another 10 years, and I would still look at it and say, well, 2B2T has been around for 20, so what's the difference? But if you are new to Minecraft Anarchy, I would simply recommend that you don't go to 2B2T. There's too many barriers to entry to make it an enjoyable experience. I would much rather, if I were brand new to Minecraft Anarchy, go to a new server like Constantium or 4B or 0B or any of the other million ones I've heard, and make a name for yourself there. Because if you do get to 2B2T, you're basically going to be treating it like you would Disney World. You're one of a million people who's seen it. You're going to explore it for a little bit and then get bored and go home.
That's actually a great comparison to Disney World. Like, yeah, and like Disney World, there's a lot of imitations. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, keeping on 2B2T and Anarchy, what was the most like substantial moment, or not necessarily moment, but experience or time you had on 2B, or really Anarchy as a whole?
Probably like the most substantial moments I had with 2B2T were immediately following the start of the Russia invasion. At that time, I had been doing my 2B2T series for almost 3 years. I think it was 2016 when Russia joined. And I had basically decided that I was done. I had posted the first half of a 2-part final episode of me doing 2B2T because the server was dying out, the population was dropping off, and I had seen some amazing bases, both fresh ones that were still active and ones that had been destroyed. And it was getting to the point where people would message me and say, "Hey, come check out my base." And my was, ugh, but I have to walk all the way there, and it's just going to be another great base. I've seen a bunch of great bases. I've uploaded videos on them, and it was getting old. And I uploaded the first half of the goodbye video the very same day that Russia joined the server. So when I went to go record the second half, there were 2,000 people in the server. And instead of doing the second half of that video, I may have even recorded it and then never uploaded it. I did a live stream of me going back to spawn and killing rushers. And it was at that point when I realized that most of the 2B2T community that had remained rallied together against this massive invading YouTuber child army. And that was a pretty impactful moment in the server's history. It was a very us versus them, put our differences aside, at least temporarily, work together, slaughter people, show them what the server is really about. It's not this fun, happy, "Oh, hey kids, we're going to go check out the server" type of server. It was Minecraft hell. And I think fortunately, a lot of kids saw that quickly and logged off and never came back. But it took Russia a long time to decide that it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to mention another thing about that. This question comes from a friend of mine, Momana. Has the Rusher invasion helped or hindered the evolution of gameplay on 2B?
I don't know if it's helped or hindered, but it absolutely has changed it. I would probably say that Rusher coming to the server both saved and destroyed it. There was a very decent possibility that the server would eventually go bankrupt without the influx of players and interest that it generated, because of a myriad of things that FitMC has covered in ad nauseum. But basically boiling down to people no longer felt the server was anarchy. They felt that moderator powers or backdoor access had given people an advantage that they didn't deserve. And so they weren't willing to play there anymore. The illusion they had of a server with no rules and no power evaporated. And there were very few people online at the time that I had done the final couple episodes, and the lag was still bad. So that was one thing. But it absolutely changed the server. I don't think it was good or bad. I just think it was different. I think the server was always going to be dead. The way that it was prior to Rusher showing up, it could not recover without an influx of players, and an influx of players that large was enough to kill it permanently and turn it into something different. But it was something different that was exciting for at least a few years.
Yeah, exciting for a few years, but like, do you think people are milking 2B too much?
I don't know who is able to, other than you that make videos on it, and if they're able to continue to generate interest, then I'm sure they would. I could not. I couldn't fathom doing 2B2T 3 or 4 times a week and still being interested in the server. It would bother the hell out of me. Even games that I love and have played hundreds of hours into, I eventually get bored of and quit. But I mean, whoever currently makes money off the queue certainly is doing so. But I do believe Fit when he says, that the server costs are covered barely by the queue funding, because it is a massive server with a massive amount of files that still seems to be running in spite of the fact that it's built on absolute garbage code, and constantly under threat from the newest hacks and exploits that generate even more lag. So obviously running a server like that does cost thousands of dollars a month. So if people are willing to pay for that privilege of getting in a little quicker than every other noob, then whatever you want to spend your money on, that's fine with me. But that's about all I can really say about it.
Yeah, and like if you take into account, like, say for example, that's maybe at a maybe liberal or conservative estimate, maybe 300 people who have prio and pay it every month. So that's 300 times 20 times 12. You can do the math. It's a lot of money, and I'm sure that $1,000 is easily covered. But I also want to hang off of what you also said about Fit. What's your relationship with the dude?
I don't really talk to him very much anymore. To be honest, I didn't talk to him much before he became famous, because to me, he was just another fan. And I, wasn't very good at interacting with my audience at that time, because things like Twitch and live streaming and better communication with fans wasn't very good in the early days of YouTube-ish stuff. And then when he became famous, I tried to work with him on a couple occasions, and he always seemed too busy. He had a strict schedule that he had to keep, was always uploading videos and such, and I only was able to make a few collaborative things with him. And then lately we just don't talk anymore because I'm not into 2B2T, and that's all he's able to do. And I mean, I've seen his streams, I've watched some of his videos, and I've talked to some of his fans, and they basically say, he's alone. He does his streams, his videos and such, but he doesn't really interact with anybody YouTube wise ever since Rusher left and the whole thing with Etika went down. I mean, even before Etika showed up, even he was just a single YouTuber making a single video over and over that, people still react to, still respond to positively. But like getting the guy to do another UHC video or a collaborative live stream or something is pretty much out of the question.
Well, yeah, but he's also been doing stuff with like SMP Live with AD Venom and all that stuff.
Yeah, I did notice that. I haven't watched it. I rarely have time to watch everything I want to on YouTube these days. So in order for me to actually watch it, it's got to be pretty spectacular for me to be able to find the time to do so. But I has he been working with AD Venom directly, like in voice chat?
Yeah, yeah, they've been doing DMing and getting in their own servers, and I think they've like spawned a little relationship there.
No, I might have to check it out. Sounds interesting. I do remember Ant Venom coming into some chats right when he first joined the server, and he knew he was going to generate a bunch of interest in the server, so he popped in and was encouraging the server's current community to go ahead and kill people and give them hell, which was interesting and certainly spoke to the man's character as being a positive influence on the server, unlike Rusher, who really just wanted to mine it for every gem it was worth. But I don't hate Fit. I certainly don't hate Fit. I don't dislike Fit. I'm just he's not my favorite YouTuber. You know what I mean? So I don't watch his stuff, and I haven't reached out to him in a while to do anything because he's doing 2B and I'm not. And that's fine. I've got my own little community and we do a bunch of stuff that I enjoy doing. And really it's all about, I mean, I don't make any money really off YouTube. I do make some money from donations, which amazes me every day. But I really I play the stuff that my biggest fans like to play and like to watch, and we play games together and it's great. It's kind of like when you invite your friends over and you play Smash Brothers on the couch for a couple hours. Yeah, I haven't really kept up with Fit very much.
Yeah, yeah, you and I know, for example, like you like to do other stuff like CB. Like I know you were gifted Sea of Thieves, and you have a nice little playlist on your channel of it. And I wanted to pick up on that. What's the complete story about your YouTube channel? Because it has a little bit of history to it, right?
Oh man, it's got some weird history actually. The very first videos I uploaded to my YouTube channel were anime music videos that I made in college. Let that sink in.
Wow. Good old oh my god, DoctrZombie's.
Yes.
Making anime music
yes.
videos.
Anime music videos of
hell.
an anime called FLCL, which, and here's how it goes. I don't like anime. I don't watch it. I have no interest in anime. I couldn't name two animes other than FLCL but I really liked this one. I saw it on Cartoon Network back in the college years, and I thought it was so fucked up and weird. And I told some friends about it, and one of them actually had it on DVD. It's like, oh yeah, that's fully cooly. I like it. It's funny, and I've got it on DVD. And it's like, fucking bring it over. We're gonna watch the show. So we watched it. It was only a 6-episode series. It's really odd and interesting, and if you kind of look at it as an anime that makes fun of anime, then it's hilarious. And I liked it, and I thought, let me flex my creative muscles a bit and take some scenes from FLCL and mix them with popular music at the time. So I think I did one on Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses, and Britney Spears is Toxic.
Oh my god. Dr. Little Lover. Holy shit, dude.
Yep.
What the?
So
that's something to sink in. Holy crap.
Not a lot of people know that one.
Oh my god.
So those were the first my YouTube channel, and they're currently unlisted. You can't find them. But I've got them around. Yep, sorry.
No, come on.
Nope,
Oh my god.
They're really bad. They're not even well edited. Nope, those are private.
Come on. Oh my god.
I think the first video I uploaded after that was my alarm video in 2010 for Minecraft.
Yeah, I think there's one after that. I think there's one before that actually. Like I was looking at your channel earlier. I think there's one before it, but I could be wrong about that. Anyway, freaking anime what the fuck? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
Makes no sense at all.
Okay, but you can't name any other animes like Attack on Titan, Tokyo Ghoul, Death Note.
You just said some words into a microphone. I'm not sure what you meant. I've heard of Attack on Titan. There's like giant cannibal monsters in that or something.
I know you did a little segment with Bezo, and he likes One Punch. I like One Punch a lot, actually. It's Saitama. But man, freaking, I would not have expected that. Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very very weird situation well, I didn't it's not like I uploaded it to share it with anybody. I uploaded it because it was free video file storage and it would allow me to access the video somewhere other than on a flash drive, which couldn't hold the damn thing. So I was sharing them at my college's anime club. And honestly, don't tell my wife, but she'll never listen to this. I believe I was doing it to impress a girl.
Oh my god.
It's so juicy.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I believe I was doing it to impress a girl. And and so I uploaded them there so that I could share them at the club and that the people at the club could see it. And yeah. So if I'm looking back here, I actually have 3 anime music videos, all of which are marked private. Actually, this one here says partially blocked. So that one is actually, no, it is private. Okay. And the very first one after those 3 is my alarm tutorial in August 26th, 2010. And that has 17,000 views over, 9 years.
Hey, Mom! Doctor's a little lolly! Oh my god. I can't believe that's hilarious though, honestly. Okay, now back onto the the topics. So with other YouTube channels coming to 2B. Now, what's your full opinion on Musher? Because I know you have some pretty heavy opinions on that boy, but just vent them.
Just vent for a bit on other YouTubers coming to 2B.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So there have been people who've done it right, and there have been a lot who've done it wrong. Rusher is the epitome of somebody who fucked up coming to 2B2T. He viewed it as a cash pinata that he could whack open. And unfortunately, he succeeded and failed at the same time in a way that forever ruined the server. But my real concern is with people more like Etika. Here's a guy who has problems, who has had major breakdowns in the past, who came to 2B2T only vaguely aware of what the server was, thinking that the server just doesn't like YouTubers. And that is a convenient excuse that people use to explain the behavior of a server that is essentially the most distilled form of trollism possible. And we know what happened to Etika, and we know that it probably did not have to do with 2B2T.
Yeah, but rest in peace. My condolences.
Right. But it could have. And the server is toxic. It is the world's worst server. There are bad people on 2B2T. I won't name names, but you've interviewed some of them. So there are good people on 2B. There are plenty of dads and plenty of, guys who just go to work. They do charitable work. They, they're low on the totem pole at a company, and they come home and they just want to blow off steam by logging in, blowing up somebody's base and leaving some dank memes behind. But there are some nasty, violent people on 2B2T, and there's nothing wrong with that. They're people too. And the server has no rules. So if you are prepared to understand and deal with it properly in a way that does not paint a target on your back, then you might be able to be fine. I came to 2B2T knowing that it was a frightening server, knowing that there were people there who did bad things way beyond the server itself, who logged into your desktop and took pictures of it to send to you to warn you that you were, backdoored, that type of shit. And people who would dox you, people who would come after your family, people who would SWAT you. These people live on 2B. So when you're a extremely popular YouTuber who caters primarily to children, you should not make a fucking video about the oldest anarchy server in Minecraft, because you're gonna get more than you can handle. AD Venom did not do that. He treated 2B2T with a very gentle, respectful, cautious hand, and the 2B2T community responded kindly to him. There were certainly people who didn't like him making a video there, but most of the people were like, okay, that was fine. That's the video I expected. When Rusher came, he tried to purchase the server. He basically tried to buy the community because he thought he could keep hitting it for money. And I think he got scared away. And I don't know exactly what did it. It may have simply been that the lag machines made it impossible for him to actually record, which made it impossible to him to make money off of videos there. But I feel like something more probably happened.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, that's something a lot of people don't think about. I certainly haven't. But yeah. Actually, speaking of Rusher, you sent out Rusher's mother's Twitter, right?
You cut out again, but
Sorry, you leaked Rusher's mother's Twitter, am I right?
Yeah, I did. I'm
Why?
not terribly proud of it. So this was shortly after I found out that he attempted to buy the server from Housemaster, and the reasons why were pretty clear. Taragadude did some great investigative reporting. Fit did a quick little video on it. Rusher had to respond, and he basically confirmed everything that Fit and Taragadude said, and everything that Housemaster had lied about. And he fucking lied about it, which was not good. People did not like that. So we were like, how do we get Rusher off the server permanently? And a lot of people were like, well, you know, we build lag machines, or well, we kill him constantly. And the people who were smart enough were like, no, we make his real life, make him aware that this is a server that hits you in real life. And it was pretty easy for me to find his mother's Twitter handle. She had been tweeting at him things like, look, it's my baby. He did a Minecraft video or whatever. I don't fucking know. Some dumb, like, why is your mom on Twitter, honestly? And I posted in the Reddit thread about this, you know, asshole. Well, it would be a shame if somebody found this Twitter handle that belongs to his mother. And it did not work out the way I expected. I expected people would go there and really scare his mother. But realistically, I think only one person did and was like, do you know your son is attempting to purchase a Minecraft community? And it was like, well, she doesn't know what the fuck that means. Whatever.
Yeah, she won't give a fuck.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it myself, but I was thinking that somebody more nasty would go there and be like, hey, I know where you live. Get your son to stop playing on the server. Which in hindsight, horrible idea. I can't believe I went along with this. I can't do.
Oh my god.
But I was really pissed at the guy. Like I wanted him gone. And I realize now that it was too late for that. And that if something had happened, I certainly would have felt responsible and very guilty. But thankfully, nothing came of it. And eventually he did leave the server for whatever reason. I'm assuming it just became financially worthless for him because he couldn't make videos. His time is money. Wasn't making any money. So, but at the time I thought, well, if someone scares his mother will be like, what are you doing? You need to stop playing here. And he'll quit because he was a fucking kid. Like he was like 19 or 20 or something.
Yeah, 21 or whatever.
Yeah, I don't even think he was old enough to drink. He was in college, for fuck's sake, or thinking about going to college. It was ridiculously young to be so popular. And I hated him, and I still do, actually. I still think he's a jackass who did not understand the server he logged into and thought that he could buy it and make money off it, and had literally no care for the people who lived there.
Yeah, you realize his account has been on recently?
Has it? I think I heard that it was there, but I mean, he hasn't made a video about it. Otherwise, about that. But at this point, I no longer care. The queue is too long. I'm sure he has a way to bypass even the priority queue because he fucking owns it. He does own the queue server.
Well, it's hosted by the Archon,
which is his, server thing. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you think he understands what he's doing now?
I don't know. I think he definitely learned something from the experience. But again, it was too late. He had already destroyed the server with the amount of people coming in. He'd already tried to buy the server from Housemaster. He'd already had that egg in his face from people finding out about it. He'd already had a friend of his get hacked and have his account stolen, and you know, all the information leaked about it. All of this, you know, backhanded cloak and dagger shit was going on, and he had no idea why people would even do that over a Minecraft server. And it just went to show that he literally thought nothing of it. He thought it was a roleplay server where people would go and have fun. Fun, guys. But I think if he comes back to 2B2T, it will be a little different. But I don't think he'll come back. Yeah, I think he learned.
2B is like you stated in I think your last video on 2B2T is hell, the Minecraft equivalent of hell. And yeah, whoever wants to see that video, DoctrZombie's channel will be linked in the description along with the video. So one of the last topics I have for you, Doc, is with Housemaster wanting to eventually increase the player amount in the server. Like, how do you think that will affect the server? I know you're an outspoken anti-Q advocate, so like, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I don't like the queue. I understand the need. So I'm not angry at that. I just don't like having to wait an impossible amount of time or pay a unrealistic amount of money. If it was $5 a month, I might even consider paying it or using donations from my channel to do it. I could probably drum up enough interest in a 2B2T live stream or even video series to cover the $5 a month. But 20, nah, it's ridiculous. I can, like I said, I can spend that money on a bunch of things that I like more. But if the amount of people logged into the server and the server is stable and not burdened with too much more TPS problems, causes the queue to go down to maybe 1 hour. If it's down to an hour, I might log in. If it's down to an hour, a lot more people might try to log in, and then the queue's back again. So
yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
It's not going to work out because the more people that can get into the server, the more people will be willing to wait to get into the server, and then you're back where you started. Exactly. I don't think it's going to work. I don't have high hopes for ever playing that server again, just because of the size of the queue. It's now grown popular enough that if the player count ever starts to drop off, it's just not going to be able to cover the cost of running, and then it'll fold. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from. Like, it really is a double-edged sword. Like, the more people who come, the more people who are going to be wanting to pay, and the less the queue is, the more people are going to pay, and it's just a never-ending cycle. But an action has been taken by good old Jared to take out a good chunk of the amount of people who are coming into the server. So his 8th incursion, like, what's your opinion on it?
Well, I'll be honest, I don't know much about it. So
pretty much it's just Jared and a bunch of other people, like Bullet IMMs. Shout out to my IMMs, Backstreet Boy. They're trying to get rid of a lot of the not Vietnamese, Taiwanese players that are, you know, coming into the server, and they're taking different precautions. You know, I think watering spawn, killing all of them, and as the amount of time as it's been going on, pretty well. And I want to get your thoughts on incursions in a general scope of things. Like, do you think they're beneficial to the community?
In general, incursions have been good for the server. The first one that I was actually any part of was in the 4th incursion when Musher joined. Up till that time, there had been 3 others, and I was invited into the 3rd. I really wanted to be a part of it, but I could not get online often enough to make it back to spawn to join in. At that point, I was the whopping amount of 70,000 blocks away from spawn, and getting back via the nether seemed like it would take forever. And at that time, 70,000 blocks away, untouched wilderness, you couldn't find anything. I was off the axis, of course. But this was hiatus base, which was, I think, 70K by 40K in the ++ direction. I could be, yeah, I could be wrong. That base has been found and is publicly known. I just don't know where where that information is. But it was too far away, and it came at a time that I could not be online much, and my life had gotten more and more hectic as my time in 2B went on. So I missed out on the third incursion. That was the one where Wrath Outpost was built, and I realized that this was really a monumental event. And I wish I could have been part of it. So I came back to look at it shortly before Rusher started. And then the fourth incursion, I happened to be in the right place at the right time. I was only 20,000 blocks away from spawn. I had just done a video about me quitting the game. I grabbed my gear, I went back to spawn and started stabbing people. And it was great. People died. And it was good because it did wipe some kids who did not belong on 2B2T from coming back. They were like, ooh, let's spawn in and see the lava casts and the cobble, and why am I being attacked? I want food. Can anybody give me chicken? Like, where do I eat? And it was just constant. Those first couple days were
there's no starter kits, guys.
Yeah, nobody fucking knew. And Rusher was like explaining it in his video, but people saw the first 10 seconds and were like, 2B2T, Rusher's there. I'm gonna go ahead and join him. I'm so excited. And they were like, where's the free food? Where's my starter kit? And people would type, oh, to get your starter kit, type /kill. And the chat would flood with people's suicide. It was insane. It was the biggest invasion of stupid that I've ever seen. And it stayed. Like, fortunately, the incursion pushed away the type of people who would do that. They didn't stay. They didn't learn about the game. They didn't get any better. They left. The people who stayed on 2B2T and made it better were the ones who actually paid attention and understood what's going on.
Yeah.
And a lot of 2B's current population owes its origins to the Camping Rusher. A lot of FitMC's current viewers were Camping Rusher viewers who got tired of his toxic garbage videos and gave up on that to join something that was a little more realistic. But overall, the incursion slowed down the invasion, but it could never stop it. The incursion for when the ants showed up, when Ant Venom made his video, didn't appear to have much effect because Ant Venom's viewers didn't join in the same level as Rushers. They didn't, because Ant Venom wasn't making series there. He just showed it to show off interest. People came, they got what they wanted, got incursions, they got murdered at spawn. They thought, no, it was a fun experience, and they left. Incursions are both a tool to get rid of players that don't belong and a rite of passage for people who actually do belong. Even in my first couple videos on 2B2T, I was hunted and killed. And that was kind of the goal.
It's like initiation.
Exactly.
Yeah. And, you know, survival of the fittest. Now, I think that's one of the last, if not the last, bit of questioning I have. Oh, actually, no, I have one. I think I have a question from the community. Do you know of, like, a player by the name of Lord Popcorn? And if so, like, what are your affiliations with him?
These are the questions I don't like answering. No, I don't. When I was the most popular YouTuber on C2C, I would get messages from people and, saying, hey, I love your videos. Come base with me. Let's meet. And I'd be like, okay, sure. And immediately forget their name. I'm bad with names. I'm bad with real life person's names. I'm definitely bad with user handles. So even if I talk to somebody directly via chat, via a live stream, via my Discord channel, chances are, unless we regularly talk, I've forgotten your name. And it's really bad. I do, because there's chances that I've actually built bases with people during temp maps. I can't remember who the fuck they were. And they'll be like, oh yeah, we built a base together. And I'll be like, sure, that sounds like it happened. It's just...
it's fine. Apparently he says he was the guy who blew up Grindlord's base in 2018.
Grindlord's base. See, now Grindlord I do know.
Yeah, you tore the base, right?
I believe so, yeah. Yeah. I've toured a lot of bases, and almost everyone has been destroyed. Some of them shortly after I've been there. In fact, I've been to a few bases where I either toured them and had not uploaded the video, or was invited to tour them and never quite made it before the base was destroyed, to the point where it started to look a little suspicious. People were wondering, like, is Dr. Zombie leaking these cords?
The most trusted person on 2B2T leaking cords?
Yeah. Yeah, and there was panic. No, people, I don't think anyone realized they kind of what had happened. Most of the time, the people who destroyed the bases took credit for it, because you do. But yeah, no, most trusted person on 2B. So there's the phrase "the most trusted man in America" was given to Walter Cronkite back in the 70s, a news reporter who told the news like it was, no spin, no opinion, and people trusted him. He was a CBS News anchor, unlike the fake news of today that is controlled by corporations and
like liberal media and shit like that.
Very manipulated. Walter Cronkite was actually trustworthy. People believed him when he said something. And I remember when the Incursions started and Rusher came about, and the Spawn Masons were forming. I remember somebody in chat with like 10 other people said, I don't trust any of you. I would never give any of you cords to my base except Dr. Zombie. and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And most people felt that way, that if they gave me coordinates, I would not leak them. If they told me a secret, I wouldn't tell anybody. If I have some footage from things that that I was asked never to upload this unless I give you permission, and I have not received permission, I still have that footage. Specifically, I've got footage of the Sun Wukong lag machine that was used during the Russia War. By now, I'm sure that design either no works or is well known, but I never got Sun's permission to upload it, and I don't see much of a reason to now since the time has long passed. But I remember AutismBot let me tour Block Game Mecca back in the day, 6 months before it was destroyed. And he said, keep this video private. If the base ever gets griefed, you can release it. I'll tell you. Or if I ever want you to release it just so that people can come destroy it, I'll let you know. And eventually somebody found it and started blowing it up. Actually, yeah, it was later. Yeah, it was. I think it was incited due to, was that the big problem with the 2B2T museum? Somebody was able to find out all of the real life coordinates for a bunch of bases that were uploaded into the 2B2T museum. One of the admins went around griefing them. Yeah, I think that's what happened. And then he said, go ahead, upload it. And so I did. Yeah.
Alrighty, now last little question, because this episode's getting a little long. Now, as a tradition on here, started with the first one and ended, or not ending, but I'm gonna ask this again. What is your favorite cheese? That's a question from Kabata.
My favorite cheese, it's got to be a tie between provolone and blue.
Okay, good choices. Good choices.
Yeah, blue cheese crumbles or dip. Dressing, great. But if you need something for a sandwich or melted on top of something, provolone, gotta be.
Gotcha. Well, I think that will do it. Thank you so very much, Dr. Zombie, for coming onto the Anarchy Podcast. I'd like to thank you for watching the Anarchy Podcast. If you'd like to learn more or be part of the discussion, make sure to join the official Discord. Links will be in the description, along with his channel and the video that he said and mentioned in the video. I forgot which one. I think it was the creeper alarm, yes. Anyway, I think that's it, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. I'm your host, Super. With me, I've had Dr. Zombie, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Fuck my friends, they're gone. They all left one by one. And now the summer's done. They don't need no more fun.